Hello, Fisher officers. Welcome to another session of NewsKase, wherein we try to bring in the most relevant of current news integrated with both prelims as well as mains. And the topic for today's discussion is from Indian Express, wherein it has been mentioned, oceans have a fever. सुना होगा इंसानों के फीवर के बारे में, but have you ever heard about oceans having fever? So we will be discussing this article in details today. And it find its relevance from GS paper 1 as well as GS paper 3, because GS paper 1 it has been clearly mentioned important geophysical phenomena which among other things include cyclones and changes in critical geographical features including water bodies and ice caps. And in GS paper 3 it talks about conservation, environmental pollution, degradation, and very important, disaster and disaster management. Let us try and see why this article is there in news. So, as per recently released data from Copernicus Climate Change Services, average global SST not the social sciences but sea surface temperature, नाम से clear होना चाहिए, ocean के जो surface है उस पे what is the temperature, this temperature is increasing. If we go by the data set back to 1979, so आज तक उतना ज्यादा टेम्परेचर नहीं पाया गया जितना प्रीवियस मंथ, मतलब फरवरी 2024 में द एवरेज सी सरफेस टेम्परेचर वाज रिकॉर्डेड एट 21.06 डिग्री सेल्सियस. दिस इज द हाईएस्ट एवर रिकॉर्डेड. इससे पहले जो टेम्परेचर विच वाज द हाईएस्ट वाज रिकॉर्डेड इन अगस्त 2023 and it stood at 20.98 degrees Celsius. And if you go more into these data, these graphs, so you would realize the temperatures of oceans are getting more and more increased. So on y-axis you can see the temperature, on x-axis time is being shown. So these dotted lines they indicate what? Sea surface temperature of the previous year. और जैसे जैसे year बढ़ रहा है, so temperatures are also increasing. This orange line depicts sea surface temperature for year 2023. This black solid line it is for 2024. So clearly there has been increase in temperature. Now you must be wondering what is causing these temperatures to rise. Why our oceans are getting more and more warmer? First and foremost, it is because of industrial revolution. Must be wondering क्या industrial revolution और ocean warming का कोई relation है? Definitely there is a relationship. Because during the time of industrial revolution in the mid 19th century, human beings they have started to utilize more and more fossil fuels. और burning of fossil fuels की वजह से what we have emission of greenhouse gases. The prominent ones like carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, tropospheric ozone, methane, etc. और उन सब में क्षमता होती है ट्रैप करने का. किसको ट्रैप करने का? The outgoing terrestrial radiation. So these greenhouse gases they basically trap the heat, thereby warming the planet. But इस सब में where is the ocean? जिस तरीके से plants absorb करते हैं कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, उसी तरीके से oceans they also act as a carbon sink. And almost 90% of the extra heat which is trapped by these greenhouse gases, it is absorbed by our oceans. तो जितना ज्यादा ग्रीन हाउस गैस का एमिशन होगा उतना ज्यादा हमारे ओशंस में टेम्परेचर और बढ़ेगा. एंड ऑन एन एवरेज ग्लोबल टेम्परेचर्स दे हैव रिजन at least 1.2 degrees Celsius if you compare to the pre-industrial times. And what is the second reason which can be attributed to rise in ocean temperatures is the El Nino. Now El Nino, you should be knowing this, that El Nino is the unusual warming of Eastern Pacific Ocean. It is also leading to rise in our ocean temperatures. Third reason which can be attributed is weaker than average winds. Now what do we mean by this weaker than average winds? Sahara Desert. Sahara Desert has lot of dust. Winds blow, winds carry these dust. और ये जो dust है ये एक प्रकार का umbrella form करते हैं ओवर अटलांटिक ओशन। बट क्योंकि जो विंड्स हैं वो कमजोर पड़ गई हैं, तो अब कम मात्रा में डस्ट कैरी होगा टुवर्ड्स द अटलांटिक। और जो अम्ब्रेला जो पहले बन जाता था, विच प्रोवाइड्स अ काइंड ऑफ शेड, sunlight was not able to penetrate up to great depths into the Atlantic Ocean. Now this umbrella, it is kind of folded. Now more heat it is reaching Atlantic Ocean. I hope this point is clear. Thereafter, another important point, why our oceans are seeing more and more of temperature is because of changes in sulfate aerosols. You should know that back in 2020, in order to regulate the sulfur dioxide emissions from the shipping industry, more stricter regulations were imposed. So ये तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड के एमिशंस को कर्ब किया जाए या कट किया जाए, because sulfur dioxide is a harmful pollutant for humans. You should also remember sulfur dioxide leads to formation of sulfate aerosols, और aerosols आपको पता होना चाहिए, these are microscopic tiny particles, right, and they have their origin both in natural sources as well as in anthropogenic activities. These sulfate aerosols, they form a kind of cloud, right, but now they have reduced, और वो cloud अब उतना form नहीं हो रहा. Now again this is leading to more of solar radiation reaching the oceans. I hope this point is clear. That is why our oceans are getting more and more warmer. So what are the consequences कि ठीक है, oceans are getting warmer, oceans are having fever, उसकी वजह से consequences क्या है? First and foremost, we are seeing or witnessing increase in the ocean stratification. What is stratification? नाम से clear होना चाहिए. Stratification means strata, means layers. So first is increase in ocean stratification. This is basically natural separation. किस चीज का natural separation? Of oceans water into horizontal layers by density, right? क्योंकि जो warm water होगा, it would be less dense, it would be having less nutrients, right? It would be separated by more colder waters which is beneath, right, having more nutrients. Or usually ocean ecosystem, ocean currents, winds, tides, etc., they help in mixing of this water. But with the rise in more and more temperature, this mixing is being hampered. So it is becoming harder for water layers to mix with each other. और अगर waters जो layers हैं ये mix नहीं होंगी आपस में, उसकी वजह से क्या होगा? उसकी वजह से the entire marine food web would be threatened. We will understand this. Because oceans, they are able to absorb less carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and the oxygen absorbed isn't able to mix properly with the colder waters. और याद रखिएगा, colder waters में ज़्यादा nutrients पाए जाते हैं. And when this mixing, it would be hampered, so the nutrients, they won't be able to travel to the surface. It is very simple to understand. Consider this as a profile of ocean. This is increasing depth. यहाँ पे cold water है, यहाँ पे warm water है. So अगर warm water ज़्यादा हो गया, so mixing of these layers, it is hindered. अब proper mixing नहीं होगी, तो जो नीचे से nutrients है वो ऊपर सतह पे नहीं आ पाएंगे, और अगर ऊपर nutrients नहीं आ पाएंगे, so it would threaten what? It would threaten phytoplanktons. What are phytoplanktons? Phytoplanktons are also known as microalgae, और इसके दो main classes हैं, which are diatoms and dinoflagellates. Diatoms, dinoflagellates. आसान भाषा में अगर हम बात करें, फाइटोप्लैंक्टन्स कैन बी अंडरस्टूड जिस तरीके से टेरेस्ट्रियल प्लांट्स होते हैं, जैसे लैंड के ऊपर प्लांट्स होते हैं, दे आर हैविंग क्लोरोफिल, दे अंडरगो द प्रोसेस ऑफ व्हाट? फोटोसिंथेसिस. इसी प्रकार से फाइटोप्लैंक्टन्स, दिस इज द बेस ऑफ आवर मैराइन फूड वेब. और अगर फाइटोप्लैंक्टन्स को प्रॉपर न्यूट्रिएंट्स नहीं मिल पाएंगे, then zooplanktons would be impacted. If zooplanktons are impacted, the fishes, the crabs, etc., they would be impacted. So this warming is actually threatening the entire ecosystem of oceans. And it is also promoting what? It is also promoting MHW. What are MHWs? These are marine heat waves. तो जैसे हीट वेव्स लैंड के ऊपर होती हैं, इसी तरीके से ये मैराइन हीट वेव्स. And you should know that when do we consider marine heat waves? So they occur when surface temperature of a particular region of the sea, it rises by 3 to 4 degrees Celsius, but at least for 5 days. अगर कम से कम 5 दिनों के लिए सी सरफेस टेम्परेचर 3 या 4 डिग्री सेल्सियस या उससे ज्यादा हो गया, सो देन वी विल से दैट वी आर हैविंग मैराइन हीट वेव्स. और इस मैराइन हीट वेव्स की वजह से व्हाट आर द इश्यूज? This can promote coral bleaching, and as per UN IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which was formed back in 1988. So between 1982 and 2016, these marine heat waves, they have doubled in frequency as well as their intensity is on a rise. और marine heat waves की वजह से corals, क्योंकि corals आपने पढ़ा होगा, these are extremely sensitive to fluctuations in ocean temperatures, ocean salinity, and other such parameters. Then very important, we are also witnessing migration patterns of aquatic animals. It is also impacted. आप खुद ही सोचिए, if you are living at some place where the average temperature is, let us say, 35 degree Celsius, एकाएक अगर वहां पे टेम्परेचर 35 से बढ़ के 45, 55 या फिर उससे ज्यादा हो गया, so you would also be forced to migrate. कुछ ऐसा ही पाया जा रहा है in the aquatic species, right? And we are witnessing what? Tropicalization of the species, कि जो tropical area से, equatorial area से species are migrating to the temperate and the Arctic regions, right? And they are also causing what? Diseases along with them, and they are becoming invasive alien species, right? Then very important, आपने जरूर से पढ़ा होगा how tropical cyclones are formed. The sea surface temperature should be around 27 degrees Celsius या more than that. So जैसे जैसे temperature बढ़ रहा है, right? Oceans are having fevers, so to say. So the frequency and intensity of storms like hurricanes, cyclones, it is on a rise. Why it is on a rise? Because there would be more evaporation, right? As well as transfer of heat from the oceans to the air. And when oceans are getting warmer, so it would also lead to more flooding. इसकी वजह से और ज्यादा flooding देखने को मिलेगी. Flooding would mean more devastation for the humans and the biodiversity. So these were some of the consequences of ocean warming. So what is the conclusion? In conclusion, we can say that only way to avoid or blunt the consequences is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Greenhouse gas emissions should try and limit this. We have number of international agreements, but in reality, if we see, then world is nowhere close to doing that. And in fact, in 2023, last year itself, concentration of greenhouse gases, it reached the highest levels which were ever recorded in our atmosphere. And more greenhouse gases would mean more and more absorption or trapping of heat by our oceans. जितने ज़्यादा oceans warm होंगे, we had seen number of consequences which are associated. So please do not forget to comment what should be the way forward. And here you can see PYQ, which is based on today's theme, because in UPSC 2024 it has asked about ocean mean temperature. Ocean mean temperature is measured at what depth, isotherm should be at what depth, so on and so forth. So please try and answer the same. So this was about today's session. I hope you found it useful for your examination. So keep studying More importantly, keep practicing. Have a good time.